Hello, everyone. My name is Kevin Powers. I'm the host of Conversations in Horror, the podcast, and I want to bring you some really great and special news. So, for the last couple of months, we've been kind of discussing what we are going to do as the brand of Conversations in Horror expanded into bigger and better things. As you know, we already have one sister podcast, Conversations in 4Color, which delves deep into comic books, manga, and graphic novels, and that's on our Patreon supported page only. Comes out about once or twice a month, but it's just me talking about some of the comic books that I read. Therefore, with this new announcement, it's going to be a little bit more personal and more specific to the fans of our Conversations in the Horror podcast, as we have been for the last 2 months developing a new podcast for your enjoyment. Now, I know there's just too many horror films out there for our regular podcast to cover, so we've decided to branch off into a secondary film-based podcast called Conversations in Hammer Studio Horror Films, which will only deal with the films of the Hammer Studio era and their most modern-day films that they are still doing. Hammer Studios is still kicking and screaming, as you all should know, but the podcast, the new podcast, will more or less focus on the older films from the 60s, 70s, and 80s until their eventual folding in, and then of course they came back recently. But we're going to be focusing on those earlier films for your enjoyment. I know we have not touched upon any of them in our regular podcast, which is why we've decided to give it its own love. So for right now, the podcast is being recorded right now and will come out this October as we unveil the first 4 episodes of the show, one each week, every Friday at 8 o'clock. After October, the great month of Halloween, we are going to be unveiling a new episode every first and third Friday at 8 a.m. every month afterwards. So this will not be a weekly podcast, but it will be an every other week podcast because we already give you so much with the regular podcast. So we hope that you are all a Hammer fans out there and you will come by and enjoy this secondary film podcast. But if you aren't familiar with Hammer Studios, this will be a great jumping on point for you to come in and kind of get an idea of some of the amazing films that the Hammer Studio company produced during their heydays between the 60s and 80s. So with that, I am going to show you the logo for our new podcast, and hopefully you will enjoy it. And then don't forget, come back on in the first Friday of October for the first episode, and then, like I said, we're going to have an episode every Friday for the month of October, the Halloween holidays, and then from there on out, it'll be twice a month for your enjoyment after that. Make sure to like, follow, subscribe, and share so you never miss an episode, because that's going to be very important, because between our main podcast and this podcast, you will have a lot of great content available for you every month. If you are not familiar with our show, Conversations in Horror, you will realize that what we do is we only delve deep into one film per episode. So we're hoping that the Hammer one will go for at least a couple years to give you a good idea of what they've been up to and what they did beforehand. So with that, I've been Kevin Powers. I hope that you've enjoyed this quick little reveal, and I hope that you enjoy our new logo. So without further ado, I'm going to show you the logo now, and then I'll see you in October for Conversations in Hammer Studio Horrors.